a country so small it could fit into the UK over 300 times, with no natural resources, barely any drinking water, and surrounded by challenges. How did Singapore rise to become one of the wealthiest nations on earth? Imagine a barren, marshy land, riddled with poverty and unemployment. In the early 1960s, Singapore was not the glitzy financial hub you see today. Instead, it was a struggling backwater of Malaysia. Life was bleak. The locals engaged in loading and unloading goods at the docks, petty theft, and even scavenging for food. Yes, they were so destitute they ate rats that came off ships. Singapore, a country with a land size of just 728 square kilometers. Yet today, Singapore's achievements rival, and in some areas, surpass those of nations 100 times its size. Stick with me, because this is one story you don't want to miss. By 1965, political tensions between Singapore and Malaysia reached their peak. On August 9, 1965, Singapore was expelled from Malaysia, leaving its citizens uncertain and fearful. Lee Kuan Yew, the newly appointed leader, broke down in tears as he announced the nation's independence. That moment marked the birth of a sovereign Singapore, a nation with no resources, no allies, and an uncertain future. But what it did have was hope and an extraordinary leader. Interestingly, fate gifted Singapore two priceless assets on that fateful day in 1965: freedom and the visionary leadership of Lee Kuan Yew. Unlike most leaders, Lee didn't dwell on what Singapore lacked. Instead, he focused on what it could achieve. With sheer determination and a pragmatic approach, he laid the foundation for Singapore's future. Lee knew the road ahead was challenging. His first strategy? Industrialization. Singapore invited the United Nations and renowned economist Albert Winsemius to create a blueprint for economic growth. Together, they crafted a 10-year crash program to attract foreign investment and create jobs. But Lee's vision didn't stop there. He shockingly turned Singapore into a haven for multinational corporations by rejecting anti-American rhetoric and embracing global trade. This bold move brought cutting-edge technology, expertise, and markets to Singapore, catapulting its economy forward. Did you know that Singapore is a secular state that acknowledges the importance of religion in its society? Unlike many countries, Singapore struck a delicate balance. It separates religion from politics, but respects and celebrates religious diversity. This pragmatic approach fostered peace and unity among its multi-ethnic population, allowing people to worship freely without political interference. This careful equilibrium is just one example of how Singapore continually outsmarts challenges with practical solutions. One of the most amazing things about Singapore is how it built its society on meritocracy. Lee Kuan Yew believed that rewarding talent and hard work was the key to success. This principle permeated every aspect of Singaporean life, from education to politics to business. Remarkably, this ensured that the best minds always rose to the top, creating a culture of excellence. In its early days, Singapore was plagued by corruption, a legacy of British colonial rule and the Japanese occupation. However, Lee made it his mission to root out corruption at every level. He empowered the Corrupt Practices Investigation Bureau, which acted swiftly and decisively against even the highest-ranking officials. Shockingly, Singapore transformed into one of the least corrupt nations in the world, becoming a global model for governance. With no natural resources, Singapore turned to its people. Lee Kuan Yew famously remarked that the nation's greatest resource was its citizens. Education became the cornerstone of Singapore's strategy. Massive investments were made to ensure that every Singaporean had access to high-quality schooling and skills training. Initiatives like Skills Future continue to empower citizens to adapt to a rapidly changing world. One of the most mind-blowing achievements of Singapore is its world-class public transport system. According to McKinsey's Urban Transportation Report, it is ranked as the world's best, outshining even countries like the UK. Let this sink in. Singapore, a city-state, outpaces global giants by excelling in availability, affordability, efficiency, convenience, and sustainability. The system is so integrated that with a single card, you can seamlessly travel on both buses and trains. Tap water in Singapore is so clean and safe that it doesn't require filtration, a remarkable feat that few countries can claim. Another example of its pragmatic governance is the so-called gum ban. Contrary to popular belief, chewing gum isn't illegal. Rather, the law prohibits its import and sale, with certain exceptions, striking a balance between maintaining spotless public spaces and preserving individual freedoms. These seemingly minor elements speak volumes about Singapore's meticulous planning and innovative approach to problem-solving. Did you know Singapore ranks #1 globally in the Human Capital Index? Their workforce isn't just skilled, it's one of the most adaptable in the world. Shockingly, from 1965 to 1990, Singapore's GDP grew at an astonishing rate of over 9% annually. Industrialization and the service sector became twin engines of growth. By the 1970s, unemployment was virtually eradicated, and Singapore joined the ranks of Asia's tiger economies, alongside Hong Kong, South Korea, and Taiwan. In recent years, Singapore has focused on sustainability and innovation. The Singapore Green Plan 2030 is a bold initiative to achieve net zero emissions by 2050. With thriving industries like data hosting and construction, Singapore continues to evolve. Today, Singapore stands as a testament to what visionary leadership, hard work, and meritocracy can achieve. From its shocking beginnings to its inspiring ascent, the Singapore story is a reminder that no challenge is insurmountable. Wasn't that an amazing journey? Let us know your thoughts and favorite moments in the comments. And don't forget, if you enjoyed this story, smash that subscribe button and hit the bell icon for more engaging content. Together, let's keep exploring stories of progress and resilience. See you in the next video.